The 2020 racing and riding season kicks off with round one of the MXC series at Prophetstown, Illinois. Now, we have a lot to talk about with this episode. We'll start the episode by talking about the race itself, and then we'll end the episode with talking about the current global situation, which is really no surprise to anyone at this point. But we'll talk about what we can expect within the next month or two when it comes to racing and riding. Now, with the first race of the MXC series, where we're at today, I wasn't originally planning on coming to this race. I was originally planning to be in Lisbon, Portugal. It was going to be my first trip to Europe, and I was actually really excited for it. But the virus was sweeping through Europe at the time, and the trip ended up getting canceled. So I was like, alright, you know what? Let's go to the first round of the MXC series. And here we are. Now, this race was actually very interesting because it started off with the 10 o'clock a.m. race, which was the 85s, 65s, and women classes. And then it transitioned to the noon race, which was the AA, and B class race. And now it is 1:45 p.m. and I am on the line with the Masters, Open C, and C Light classes. So we were the last race of the day, and the trail, I knew going into the race that it was going to be destroyed. Now, this is the first time that I am on the bike for the year. I haven't ridden prior to this race. The last time I was on the bike was the week of Christmas of last year. So I was a little nervous going into this race, and to be quite honest, the expectations were a little low. My goal for the race was 1, to finish, and 2, to beat a few people here and there. Now here's a picture of my bike the week before the race. I did a compression test, and the compression test came back at 150 psi, which I could have went a few months into the season without doing a top end rebuild, but I figured I might as well rebuild my bike prior to the season starting rather than doing a top end rebuild in the middle of the season. So I did my top end rebuild the week before this race, and now we are at the race with a beat up trail. The first time I'm on the bike for the year, I'm breaking it in. Sounds like the perfect recipe to go racing. Alright, that was a long intro. Now let's get to the good stuff. Did I mention this was my first time riding this year? So yeah, not the start that I wanted. We're coming into the woods, and you can see ahead that we have a bottleneck. This is like the entire C class all bunched up, and I'm looking on both sides of the trail to see if there's a way around, and nothing's really jumping out at me, so I'm gonna have to wait this one out. Luckily, it's clearing out quick, and it's loose sand, so my guess is someone or multiple people just tipped their bikes over, and then there was no way around, so everyone ended up getting bunched up. Now, all I know is I am in the back of the pack, and I have a lot of work to do to get caught back up. Luckily, there was just a crash there that hung up two people, so I made two passes. A little race information that I forgot to mention is the class that I am racing in today is the Open C class, and there are 24 other riders within Open C. The time that we are racing is 1 hour. A short while later, a guy within the Open C class crashes and I get around him. You'll see this will be a reoccurring theme, with it being the first race of the year, for the MXC series at least. A lot of people are crashing and a lot of mistakes are being made, and that is a way that I'm getting around quite a few people. Moving forward here just a little bit, you see off to the right a guy pulls over, lets us around, and up here on the ATV is Bill Gussie, who is one of the promoters for the MXC series. This is a really awesome series, so if you've never tried out an MXC race, highly recommend it. So this corner is a combination of deep ruts and really loose sand. So this guy crashes and I get around him, but I get a little squeamish when I am exiting the corner and I get passed by this guy in the Sea Light class. I'm exiting this corner and I hit a root which slides out my back tire, and then for whatever reason I try and take on a tree with my bark buster. Obviously the tree won, so a quick tip over, but I'm proud to say this was my only crash of the race. But yeah, don't try and take on trees with bark busters, you'll lose every time. One mistake that I think I made today was I let way too many people pass me without a fight. Now, that's not to say if someone's yelling or revving at you, then you're holding them up. So find a safe place to pull over and let them around you. But I'm even pulling over for people that I don't hear the revs or the yells for, and people that I'm racing for position. And point proven right here. Fast guys will always find a way around you. This guy comes screaming in that's clearly faster than myself and the guy on the Suzuki in front of me and got around us without any problem. Now, the one benefit to letting the guy on the Suzuki around me is we do end up having a pretty good battle, which ends up giving me a confidence boost and speeds me up. We're coming in to finish the first lap, and the laps were very short today. It snowed the day before the race, so I think the assumption was the track was going to be very slippery, and that's why they put the A and B classes before the C class, so they can break in the trail and it's not too slippery for us. That's just my assumption, but we move on to lap 2, still behind Suzuki guy and trying to catch him. And he ends up crashing in this deep sand ruddy corner that I got around a guy on the first lap. So made the pass there, and now we're moving out to the MX track. So nothing really happens after that pass. We come in, finish up lap 2, moving on to lap number 3. And here it looks like two guys ended up crashing into each other. I try getting around, but I don't get over to the left enough and end up getting my tire stuck on that guy on the Yamaha's bike. But he moves a little bit, so I get around two guys. I believe both of those guys were in the Open C class. And then moving forward here a little bit, we'll see that there's a guy stuck right here, or he's not really stuck, he just stalled his bike. But I don't know what I'm doing. I can easily get around him, but I stopped for whatever reason. I end up making the pass, and that guy was also in the open C class. For whatever reason, I thought he was in the C light class, so I didn't think I really made a useful pass. But he was in open C, so I made 3 passes on guys in my class within that short period. This guy, not sure if he was in my class or not, but got around him. Coming in, finishing up lap 3, moving on to lap 4. And you can see one of those guys that I got around caught up to me, and we were having a decent battle, but the other guy that passed me was in the Masters class. So he was a fast guy and he was a lapper. So just pulled over to let him around. Didn't want to hold him up more than I needed to, even though this wide open section he probably easily could have got around me. But it's fine. It's not too big of a deal. Moving into the lap here just a little bit, I catch up to this guy and he ends up letting me around him. I believe he was in the open C class, but I can't say for sure. And then if we move forward here a little bit, that guy that got around me at the start finish line, I end up getting around him. And then I believe he ended up getting around me again. Can't really find it in the footage, but I believe he did end up getting around me in the last few laps. Coming in, finishing up once again another lap here. And we're actually going to move forward another lap. So now we are on the final lap. The white flag was out. I end up doing 6 total laps. There's a guy down right here. End up making the pass. And now we come out to the finish. So I ended up finishing this race 16th of 24. So not really the exciting finish that I wanted, but my goals were achieved for the day, that is. I finished the race, and clearly if there were any loose bolts that I forgot to tighten or didn't tighten enough in my top end rebuild, it wasn't too detrimental, and I beat a few people. So I would say it was a pretty successful day and a good starting point for the season. Now for the not so fun part of the video. I'm not going to talk about the virus itself because that's not my place and I'm in no position to do that. I just want to talk about what we can expect within racing and riding within the next month or two as a result of the virus. So for those of you who live in Illinois, you'll know that we are under a shelter-in-place order until April 7th. As a result of this, both the MXC Series and AMA District 17 Series have postponed their races until further notice. Also, MX tracks and riding parks within Illinois are shut down. So if this goes on for much longer, I might make a trip back to Iowa for a weekend because I know Lakeview OHV is still open. I just need to get my bike registered in Iowa by the DNR and then I can ride there with no problems. This will end. Life will go back to normal. When? I don't know. But hopefully when it does, we have lines full of riders, we pack the gates, and everyone has a little bit more appreciation to having racing and riding open to them any weekend that they want. So guys, thanks for watching, stay safe, and I will see you on the next video.